Hi everyone, it's Caitlin from Really Big Plant. Thank you so much for joining me for this video.
Really big plant.
I just wanted to make a really short video because I have one single piece of advice for anybody who is worrying about leaving their plants and who's going to be going on a very short trip. And this specifically is for people who are going to be taking a trip that's like a week or less, maybe, like 8 days, 9 days or less than that. If you're going to be going for a long time, what I'm about to say doesn't really apply to you. But I thought I would just offer a little bit of reassurance to anybody who is worrying about their plants for an upcoming vacation. Out of my experience with talking to a lot of different people about plants, a lot of people from different types of plant backgrounds, different familiarity with plant care, just from working in plant shops, I have one piece of plant travel advice, and it is this. Do not overwater your plants if you are going to be gone for a week or less. Be realistic with yourself about how much plant care you would normally be providing for your plants in the time period that you are going to be gone for. If it's going to be just a week or just a couple of days, you don't need to stress. And it's easier said than done because, I get it. It's stressful thinking about leaving your plants alone and, what if something happens? What if a plant falls over? What if, there's a sudden pest outbreak? I get it. The list goes on and on. There's, a lot of things that could go wrong. In theory, but also realistically, not that much is going to happen. Probably. I can't make any promises. There are natural disasters. There's all sorts of crazy kind of things that happen in the world that could happen, right? But realistically, in your average week, you probably don't do that much plant care. Maybe you do, and I don't want to speak for you, but just speaking for myself, I've noticed that I've been getting really worried thinking about leaving my plants. So I'm going to be traveling for a week, and I will be gone from my apartment for 1 full week, and it will be the longest time I've ever been away from my plants in the past 2 years. So I've gone on 1 or 2 trips for 2 or 3 days at a time, and both of those times my husband was here. So I didn't think at all about the plant care. I just, I figured it would be fine. But now that I'm going to be gone for a full week, I find myself worrying a little bit about what's going to happen to the plants. And so I wanted to just give you some words of reassurance in case you're in the same boat and you're going to be gone for a week and you're feeling that concern. I just want to say that your plants are probably going to be fine. They're going to be fine. Just water them the day before you go and don't overwater them. And the reason why I'm stressing this is because in the plant shop, one of the customer plant sad stories that I would hear all the time is that a customer would come in and they would want to know why their plant died. They went on vacation for 3 or 4 days and they came back and their plant that they had for 2 years was completely dead and rotten. And when customers would come in and tell that story, because it's a customer service job, I would have to be like, oh, that's really weird. Is there anything that you suspect might have been the cause of that? And usually customers would answer with something like this. No, I did everything I was supposed to do. I moved the plant, I put all of my plants in groups, I thoroughly watered it the day before I left, and then in the morning, right before my flight, I gave everyone more water, and they still died. And I'm just dying on the inside listening to this kind of story because the truth is what happened was those plants got overwatered. This is a really common way that people try to deal with, feeling anxious about leaving their plants. You kind of really overwater them right before you go. And I just want to do a little public service announcement for your plants here and just say not to do that. If you're going to only be gone for a week or just a couple of days, your plants will probably be fine. Listen, if you water your plants every 3 days or you've got all of your plants mounted and they need constant water, this advice doesn't apply to you. You're going to need to figure something out for your plants if you're going to be gone for longer than your watering interval. But I just want to stress not to start overwatering your plants as you lead up to a vacation, because I think that that's a really tempting thing to do. And it just sort of comes naturally to a lot of people when you start thinking about, oh, my plants are going to be thirsty, so I'm going to just keep giving them extra water now. And you just don't really want to do that because that's how you set up your plants with some very nice root rot to develop while you're gone. So just keep that in mind if you are worrying about leaving your plants. I just want to say your plants will be fine, and give them a goodbye kiss, take a nice picture of them before you go, but I'm sure they will be okay. So I just wanted to hop on here and give my little 2 cents about what happens when you leave your plants for a short time, and the truth being that a lot of times they suffer because we tend to overwater them right before we go on vacation. So, I mean, don't underwater them either. Don't be afraid to do a thorough watering, but like, don't water it every day leading up to your trip. It might sound obvious, but I find myself even needing to like stop myself from doing extra watering just because I'm in like trip preparation mode, and I keep thinking like, oh, my plants are gonna be so thirsty, and I'm tempted to just like pour a little water in and have to be like, no, don't do that. So I thought I would just share that with you. So I hope that didn't come across as me like aggressively telling you not to overwater. I mean, this is just my advice. You can do whatever you want to feel good about your plants when you leave them. This is just coming from a place of having heard this story a lot of times where people overwatered, and I figured, oh, you know what? It's that time of year. I should make this video and just remind people, in case they are like me and have not traveled in a very long time, not to do exactly what my impulse has been recently, which is to overwater my plants. I hope that you enjoyed this video, or this was a useful tip for future travel. If you're gonna be doing any traveling in the next month or two, you know, be safe, travel safe. I hope you get some amazing family visits. I hope everyone is having a really fantastic week, and I hope you eat something really good this week and do something you love. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Bye.